Hi guys, welcome back. Last year, I tried my hand at making my own wristwatch from parts that were sourced online. This is my second build, and it is inspired by a watch that I fell in love with, the Seiko Alpinist SARB 017. So, let's check it out. Dimensions: we have a 40mm diameter, a lug tip to tip of 48, a lug width of 20, and a thickness of 13mm. It's quite a thick watch. Now here's the NATO strap. It's a generic NATO strap I sourced online. So the watch case is stainless steel. It's of course inspired by the Rolex Explorer. It has a solid screw down case back. No markings there. It's smooth all around with a little bit of brushing underneath. It has a screw down crown, sapphire crystal, allegedly sapphire crystal. Now the spring bars came with the case, so the dial is green of course because I was going for the Seiko Alpinist look. And green is actually my favorite color. So the movement is a Seagull 2813. It is a hacking, hand-winding movement. It's automatic, of course. Now, this movement has a date complication, but I removed the date mechanism for this build. So if you pull the crown all the way out, the second hand stops. Of course there's a setting for the date, but nothing happens there because I removed the date mechanism. It hand winds, of course, which is a plus. And the screw down crown adds to the water resistance. This case fits 29mm dials. This particular dial that I have was 30mm, so I had to trim it down. Took quite a while. It was a very laborious procedure, trying not to scratch the sunburst green dial. It worked out okay in the end. As for the hands are actually for a Seiko NH35 movement. They didn't fit quite well on the Seagull 2813. I did make a few modifications, especially on the second hand. Now, so far this watch has been keeping good time. I've worn it pretty much every week for the past few months. This is my daily driver since I completed the build. Now the loom is not that great. especially on the dial. But for the hands, well, they are quite bright, especially when they are charged. Just expose it to a bit of light and they stay lit quite a while. I'm pretty sure it's not Seiko's proprietary LumiBright, but I'm not an expert in the Lume category, so let's just leave it at that. But the Lume is quite great. The dial, on the other hand, though the numbers do have a fair bit of Lume, they're not something to write home about. Well, in other words, they suck. In any case, at least the hands are bright enough to be seen in the dark. If you notice, the dial has no marking whatsoever. It's as generic as they can get. Very generic parts, no marks whatsoever. The crown is not even signed. The dial has nothing on it except for the indices. My NATO strap is as generic as they can get, but I like this one because it's quite long. Some of the NATO or generic NATO straps you can buy online are quite short, and I like this one because it's quite soft and supple. It's comfortable on the wrist. Speaking of on the wrist, here it is on my 6 1/4 inch wrist. I know it doesn't look like an alpinist, but well, this is the closest I can get. So if you liked the video and enjoyed it, please hit the like button. Leave me a comment below. Tell me what you think of this watch. Share the video if you can. I'll link to the very first watch I made. I'll leave a card up there on this video. So there you have it. My unnamed green, I would say, alpinist knockoff, more of a Rolex Explorer style watch. And as always, stay safe and enjoy.